Hey everyone, welcome back to Divinely Disruptive Podcast. Super excited to have you. I'm your host, Jane Powers. If you're new to this platform, I'm so excited you took time to join. On this podcast, you're going to learn from some amazing, incredible, influential people that have impacted me in a very intimate way. And I'm super excited to introduce you to one of my dearest friends, and I consider a mentor as well. So I am just super excited for this moment, and I would love for you to introduce yourself, share a little bit about your background and what you do, because you're tremendously a dynamic and spiritual woman, and you help me elevate my life.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, my name is Jessie. I'm better known as La Jessie on the radio. I'm Guatemalan and Mexican, born in Texas.
Wow.
So a very proud Latina, representing for all my Latinos. I've been on television and radio for almost 20 years now. I work for Hot 97.5 now on the morning show, and this is my first time transitioning to English. So it's a huge challenge for me because everything that I've done has been in Spanish. So obviously I feel like Sofia Vergara and I have a big accent. Mm-hmm. But so I'm on radio, and as you mentioned, I'm very spiritual, very in tune with my spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
I am nothing without God.
Yeah.
So let's just start there.
Yeah. And on the podcast, I always like to kind of start off with some humor.
Okay.
How did we meet? What did you think about me? Because again, this platform is so special to me because I want to, promote people where I felt this instant spiritual connection. So if you don't mind, I would love to know kind of how we met, what you thought of me, and just, again, like share your story with us.
Yeah. I think I met you at one of the Harding events. Mm-hmm. You were fairly new because I already been with Harding for quite some time. Mm-hmm. My first impression was just somebody that was trying to get to know the company and trying to fit in with the dynamics that were already set. So I saw you as somebody with a lot of hunger, very professional, and very with goals. So that's what I really liked about you. I did see that, it's difficult being in the position that we are as females, especially coming in, like, for example, when I went into the morning show, that was already established. People have already built these relationships. So it's tough when you come into a new position to a group of people, and, and the fact that you stood out is one of those things that stood out to me.
Yeah.
And I really admire women who are strong, who are go-getters, who are not intimidated, and who are basically breaking barriers, because a lot of the jobs that we're doing, requires for us to be strong. And so that was my first impression of you.
No, I love that. I always like to ask because sometimes, there is that initial, I call it God nudge, right?
Yeah.
Where you don't really know why, but people just stand out to you. And I really felt that about you as well. Not just how beautiful you are on the outside, but when I got to know your inner spirit, just how humble you are. And as you mentioned, 20-year career, right? And you're still going strong. That says so much about you.
Thank
and
God.
I would love to know, just a little bit of like your career background, also just some maybe personal moments that helped you become who you are. I would love to kind of start the conversation there because
Absolutely.
You are a powerful, mighty woman. And, back to what you shared, one of my greatest goals is to empower more women
Absolutely.
to lead. And I know we are in a city, in Vegas, a lot of male dominated industries, but I want to prove to people, even for ourselves, that we as women, we have the power, we have the ability, but it starts with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right. So I would love to kind of hear a little bit about just kind of your career journey and life moments that made you who you are.
Yeah. I started very, very young. I started hosting in nightclubs, believe it or not. I was only 19 and I started sneaking into 21 and over nightclubs, and I would just go to the DJ and grab the mic. But eventually that led me to hosting at a concert.
Wow.
They were going to bring like a big artist and they wanted a girl to host. I went up there and I guess I did an amazing job. That a producer from Telemundo was there. And he's like, I need that girl. I've been looking for a girl for a TV show. I need to find her. Back in those days, we didn't really have cell phones like that, And so I'm a little bit older. I know I may look a little younger. Back in my days, there were no cell phones. And social media wasn't that big. We were barely on MySpace.
Yeah.
And even then, it wasn't that big. So it took him like 2-3 months of trying to find me. And when he found me, he's like, tomorrow I have the biggest concert in Las Vegas. It was going to be at the Stardust. It was going to be the big reggaeton concert with 10,000 people attending. He's like, I need you to host this tomorrow. I'm 20 years old. I've barely done this. I've done it at the nightclubs, you know, but I've never done it professionally. So for somebody to see that in me and to expose me at that level and trust me with hosting 10,000 people was just incredible. And I was up for the challenge. You know, I wasn't intimidated. I took it. I'm like, this is either gonna make me or break me. And, you know, you're always gonna learn from situations regardless. And I feel like once opportunities are presented to you, you can't be afraid to take them. Yeah. Take that risk. Even if you fail, you're going to win the knowledge. You're going to learn so much from it. So I took it and that just opened the doors for me. I left after I did that hosting gig. I left with a 2-year contract for a TV show in Telemundo. Yeah. It played locally and then internationally. Ratings did well, and then just kept doing a lot of TV stuff from there. You know, my career just basically took off from there. Yeah. And I feel like God knows what he's doing. Yes. He likes to put, you know, some of his people in certain positions because, you know, he trusts in us and being that good influence in others as well. So I feel like it wasn't easy. It sounds easy. It was very scary, very challenging. I had no television experience, nothing. Yeah. You know, just pure talent. Just that, you know, Latina girl. And, you know, I was blessed that, you know, eventually I ended up getting the training and schooling and all that stuff. But that's basically how it all started.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful and very powerful. And especially having, you know, culture and being having like an ethnical background, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I feel like it's not always going to be the easiest for us, but again, I do believe God puts us in the right place at the right time. And, you know, it's your light, it's your talent. So the fact that at the age of 15, 16, you said, right?
I started really early. Yeah.
Yeah. You knew like, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to try it out. But that fire and that knowing intuition that believes that you could, I feel like that was the position that you placed yourself. So when you were there, God's probably like, okay, you seem to want it and you trust me, right? Correct. It's not going to be easy. And then you said you had this huge experience with Telemundo. Even I know about that. Yes. Right? I can just already see God's hand on you very early. Yes. Right. So 20 years later, I still see that. Like, I don't know too much about the Vegas scene, but you are just such, like I said, you stand out in this city as well, even in the times that we've had our interactions, right?
Thank you.
So if you don't mind me sharing or asking, how is it being a female entrepreneur in Vegas? And also, how do you kind of protect your reputation and protect your stance and position as a woman in a male-dominated industry?
I put God before anything. He is my God. I trust in him. He guides me through everything. I don't doubt him. I know he's with me, and no matter what, I'm going to succeed. And I think with faith and always acting with integrity. Yes. I'm big on integrity. I live by that. And I don't like just to say it. Integrity means the world to me. And I like to surround myself with like-minded people as well. Yeah. And when you carry yourself with integrity and you move with love always, I think that projects. And automatically people just give you that respect. And so in this male industry, I feel like carrying myself with that self-love, with that integrity, business always, you know, and has helped me overcome a lot of the challenges that come being a female in this industry, because there is a lot of men that do feel threatened when you are a powerful force or when you have a strong voice, and or even women in the industry as well. And it's in my industry is very competitive. There's always somebody younger, more talented. So you always have to constantly try to find ways to reinvent yourself. But while you're doing that, the most important thing is you cannot lose yourself trying to please others. Stay strong within your integrity. Stay strong in your beliefs, your boundaries. And, you know, and you're going to have a smooth sailing. There's going to be people that are going to walk out of your life because they don't agree in your beliefs or your integrity, and they don't like the way you move. And that's okay. That's not the people you want in your life or the people you want to work with. Every time I work with people who don't agree with my values or my integrities, I've found it that things have never been successful. And when I do things from a place of love with integrity and always trying to do things with a positive message and trying to influence others in a great way, then, you know, God helps you. Like, you know, it's about what you put out there. And so for me, it's just staying strong in your beliefs and in your morals. That's very important. You have to stand strong on that. You can't bend on that, you know. That's, to me, like, I hold on to that so tight because that's what I control. That is my power. And so I don't give that just to anyone, only to my God and Lord and Savior. So I'm strong on that.
No, and I can definitely agree that you own your space and you own your spirit.
You have to, yes.
Like I said, even the few events that I've encountered with you and even just watching the way you move, it humbles me, right? Because I think I do a decent job, but back to what you were sharing is don't let them take, you know, your controllables away, right?
Exactly.
Like your faith and showing up out of love and having, you know, just the right heart and intention. Something that I struggle with or, you know, bump into is, what do you do when you're around people that project negativity, right? Because the reason why I even started this podcast, Divinely Disruptive, is there's a lot of divine energy. There's a lot of beautiful energy, but there's also just a lot of things that we as positive lights sometimes have to interact with. And
Absolutely.
I know that people always say, you know, just like pay attention to what you're doing, but sometimes it could be work, it could be your neighbors, it could be old friends or just community. How do you handle yourself and protect your peace and your joy when you're around maybe toxic people, toxic friends, maybe even a toxic ex, you know? Because I just know a lot of people listening and watching, maybe they are a light, maybe they are very positive and ambitious, but they don't know how to be strong yet.
Correct.
Right. The way that you are. Obviously it wasn't easy, but how can you teach people, including myself, that we're not there yet? You know, we know what we need to do, but why are we so affected still?
We're only human. And at the end of the day, we have to accept, especially as women, we're emotional beings, you know, and we're sensitive. We want people to care about the things that we care about. And when people are projecting their insecurities and their evil ways towards us, that's when you have to become the strongest. That's, for example, I don't play about me. I'm very nice and I'm very kind, but I'm like when Jesus went to the temple and saw all these people gambling and selling things, and he threw everything and like, get out of here. This is disrespectful. Like, even Jesus was mad at seeing disrespect. And so I'm a fighter. You know, I'm the most kindest, sweetest, but if people's insecurities are going to be projected onto me, I'm going to make sure to let them know, hey, this is my boundary and you can't cross me right here. Like, if that's how you're going to handle yourself, then I don't need you in my circle, because it does affect me. I'm a very sensitive person. I do generally care. And so if that's going to be a distraction for where I'm trying to go, and if it's going to affect my emotions, then that's a huge price to pay. Every time you let somebody get to you, you're giving them a lot from you. So you have to, and it's very difficult, and this is going to be constantly work. It's never going to end. But the more you do it, the better you become at it. So when people are projecting those things, you know, you just have to stay strong with it and just protect your space at all costs, your peace. Don't allow it, because like I said, it's a very, very expensive thing to just waste with anyone. Your energy is one of our most expensive assets, you know, because with our energy, we can use it to create and make better things. And, you know, we're humans. Sometimes we feel attacked. We get attacked. I get attacked constantly, bullied on social media. I mean, anywhere you can imagine. And so I just have to stay strong in who I am, continue to believe in my talent and my abilities, and, you know, just put those walls up. Yeah. You know, if people are not going to bring the right energy around me, then I can't invest in my energy in them anymore. Yeah. Not even with a single worry or a single thought, because it is too much. I'm giving too much out of me already. Yeah. So I'd rather just block it. So that's how I handle it. I'm straightforward. Like I said, I'm big on integrity and honesty. So I don't have a problem telling people this is what you're doing wrong. I don't set those boundaries right away. Okay. And a lot of people respect that. Yeah. You know, a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize they're projecting their insecurities onto you until you check them. And in a way, that's a way of serving God, believe it or not. It's kind of like, hey, this is not okay with me. Yeah. And so being that person that don't mess with me, it's okay to be that person. Okay. I know sometimes we want to be the nice girl, and it's okay to be that. But when it comes to you, you got to be like, no. I don't play about me. I don't play about my energy. My time is valuable. You know what I mean? Just be very protective of yourself, especially when you're a kind, good person that cares. Yeah. That's when you really, really have to be really protective of yourself. So that's usually how I handle it. It bothers me a lot. You know, it does affect me sometimes because people can be mean and evil. Yeah. Sometimes people go out of their way to make your life miserable, to try to hurt you with your livelihood, with your money, and you got to defend yourself at all costs. I mean, you are all you have. Yeah. You know, and God gives us that discernment as well to defend ourselves. You know, Jesus wasn't weak. You know, Jesus was very, very strong. You know, he had the whole world against him. Yeah. And he set the example for all of us. So we can't be weak. We got to stand up and speak the truth when we need to speak the truth, and call out the truth when we need to call out the truth, and stand in our boundaries. And I'm very big on that. Yeah, man. No, like everything you say, I'm like, oh my God, I needed to hear that, because again, I've interacted with a lot of people, and, you know, I know when I had therapy, they were saying, you know, you're a people pleaser, right? And so adding to what you're sharing, it's just sometimes, again, I know I'm not the only one, but you're so focused on people pleasing, you sacrifice your peace, you sacrifice your energy, you sacrifice your boundaries, and you literally let people spit all over you, right? Absolutely. Or throw stones at you. So I know, you know, I'm going through it, and I know certain people are going through this right now where they're at that breaking point where it's like, okay, one more word, one more gossip, one more comment, I'm going to have to let you know what's going on. So I'm at that point right now where I don't want to explode or pop off, but I'm trying my best to handle it in a respectful manner. Yeah. So I like the way that you were explaining. You're honoring God. You're defending yourself. You're defending who you are. You know, it's not like we're cursing at him like you're going to go to hell, but hey, that's not cool. Yes,
like,
defend who you are.
You're not going to talk to me like that.
Absolutely. And you know, knowing who you are and standing on that is very valuable. Yeah. Don't let anyone bring their insecurities onto you and create narratives about you. How dare? Yeah. Nobody should say anything about you but you. Yes. Period. Yeah. And so I'm big on that. Yeah. You know, and so it's okay I used to be a people pleaser as well. That comes from childhood trauma, because I wasn't raised by both of my parents. Yeah. So I had abandonment issues. Yes. I went through therapy and did the work, still doing the work, because the work never ends, you know. We're constantly learning. I'm still learning, and I'm humbled, you know, and I love learning from so many people. Yeah. And so standing your ground and, you know, analyze, and if people are going through this, you know, analyze the situation, pray to God, ask him to give you the right words with that, you know, that you can defend yourself, and you can just set that clear boundary. Like, look, I've taken this much from you. Yeah. This is where it ends. Okay. And if people don't respect that, then you move with actions. You know, but it is very important, Jane, and for anybody, protect your peace, you know, and don't allow anybody to carry any narratives about you. Like, how dare people want to do that? Like, it's for nobody to speak about you, then but you. You know what I mean? I love that. And this means a lot coming from you, because you get to see me, you know, on and off, right? In the middle of my work week, as well as off on the weekends. And you know, we got to celebrate your birthday recently. Yes. So happy birthday. Thank you. And, you know, kind of bringing it to another chapter really quick.
I control the type of people I want in my inner circle, right? So we talked about just setting boundaries and knowing, okay, like enough is enough. I'm going to set these boundaries. However, we and only we have control over who is in our inner circle, right? Like our private personal time. And correct. I thought it was so beautiful and ironic, call it God's plan. But you know, when I invited my friend Shelby and a couple other people, it was so fun how there was actually mutual connections, and my friend already knew somebody and I knew some people that you worked with. So I call that alignment, right? And divine timing. And it all makes sense. Like why you and I just, I don't know, had this unspoken connection. Like I just looked at you and I'm like, hi.
Well, I mean, real recognizes real.
Yeah. It's like your eyes sparkled and then you looked at me and I felt like my eyes were sparkling, and it was like, wow, you're just looking at me as a child, right? Like you're just looking at me as a human. And it was just so pure and innocent. And, you know, I truly believe, again, when we listen deeply, we can feel peace around somebody, or we can feel this conviction of, hey, something's off.
Correct.
Like honor that and listen to that. So, you know, for sure, I just wanted to, you know, love on you and encourage you by saying every time I'm around you and anyone, related to your inner circle, I feel so comfortable and safe, and I feel so uplifted in your, you know, presence. And so I always pray to God, like wherever I move to, God, I want to feel your presence. I want to feel your presence, protect me and guard me. So, you know,
and I'm so glad you brought that up, and you were at my birthday and you saw everybody, like that's my real circle.
Yes.
These are people that I've worked with for 20 years as well.
Incredible.
Friends, high school friends, and they're all professionals. They're all shining in their own way. Yes. And so I'm very protective of those that come, you know, that I come around, and it's amazing to have people that are all successful in their own way, but we always come each other as a family, and we always help each other. Yes. And so that's why when I say protect your peace and, you know, be careful who you bring around, that's very, very important. And it was so special to me that you already knew a lot of my close friends. These are really, really close friends of mine. So that meant the world. And I knew, I'm like, she's one of my people.
Yeah. No, and I feel so honored.
We had so much fun.
Yeah. So, you know, many more exciting moments to come, but I think that was an example of the type of joy we should have in our lives, right?
Absolutely.
Because oftentimes, you know, I'm sure we've all gone through this, especially in the last 2-3 years, but this depression and this lack of joy, right? Like we're doing our thing, we're in motion, but you know, have you ever had a season where you lost your joy, or you know you wanted joy? And also, how do you personally, you know, experience joy, cultivate joy, but also protect joy?
Absolutely. Actually, last year, I lost pretty much everything. My mother suffered 2 brain aneurysms in LA. I was here in Las Vegas. It was around 11:30 at night. And I literally had to leave everything, my job, my everything. Just took off the minute they called me at 11:30. You have to be here. She's not going to make it. Prepare yourself. And 2 weeks prior to that, my ex I just caught him cheating on me. So I was heartbroken. I'd just been cheated on. I was going to get married. We were going to have children. So I pretty much lost my house, lost everything. My mother was dying. I had to leave my dream job behind, which I just got promoted to the morning show. And so imagine when you just finally, I got my dream job and I thought things were going for me. All of a sudden, everything was taken from me. And I am so grateful to God that he allowed, and so privileged that he trusted in me to allow me to go through so much in life, because brought me closer to him. And he, to me, and you know me, you've seen me at parties, and regardless whether I'm in the music industry or not, I put God before everything. But I truly, legitimately say this with my whole heart. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here. He was my strength. I got closer to him, and I started realizing what was important. When I lost everything is when my life and I just came out of, everything just stopped basically. And I started analyzing what was important in my life and what was I fighting for and what I really wanted, and so just realizing that what really is important is your loved ones. caring for them, those special moments that you have with your loved ones, and just cherishing those special, everything else doesn't really matter. You know, having a nice career is super cool, and being successful, all of those things. But when it comes down to it and you lose it all, that's when you really, really realize, wow, you know, I'm nothing without the love of my mother. I'm nothing without the love of my family. And definitely nothing without God's love. And so I'm very grateful and privileged that I went through that experience. It was awful because I was literally, my mom was dying in the hospital, going through multiple surgeries as I had my heart broken. My ex-boyfriend was just very toxic. The woman he cheated on me with was attacking me on social media as my mom was dying. So anyway, a person can be attacked. It was happening to me at that right moment. And at that right moment, when I realized, I'm like, okay, I must be something really, really special, because the way I'm being attacked in every way possible. And so it was survival mode. I'm like, no, I cannot let any of this get the best of me. I mean, I could have thrown the towel and say, God, I can't handle this. I'm heartbroken. My mom's dying. And yes, there were moments that I just didn't want to be here anymore. And I just felt like I'm done. But then I cried my heart out and got up, and I was like, no, something good has to come out of this. And I have to keep trusting in God. I mean, I kept thinking about Jesus, how he must have felt when everybody turned on him. You know, when he was getting beaten, spitting on, and, you know, anything despicable he could go through, he went through. And so when I was looking at my life, I'm like, this is nothing compared to, you know. And so I was grateful. I was grateful that I got a little taste of what it feels like to be abandoned, and you know, rumors. I mean, it was hell. My whole family turned on me. I was literally, Jane, in the hospital by myself with my mother. Zero support from my family. Ex-boyfriend, you know, attacking me. I was afraid that I was going to lose my job because I didn't know when I was going to come back to Las Vegas. I mean, everything that could have went wrong was going wrong, and I still fought through it, you know, and stayed strong, and just cried my heart out, and did anything possible just to be there, because I knew that God was putting me in a position for a reason. And that was my strength, God. I mean, everything with me always falls back to God, and I'm strong in that, and I would always praise his name. Always.
Man, and just like listening to you right now, I'm like choked up, because again, when I interact with you and engage with you, you don't project it, you don't show it. And again, you know, in our everyday life, we all go through things that we don't realize, like how it affects us mentally and spiritually, right? And man, like, I just admire you so much, because those are very heavy things. But I know that, you know, people are going through something like that, but I can't say they're dealing and overcoming the way you are, right?
Yes.
But in the wildest way, it makes sense why you are the way that you are. It makes sense why you have this beautiful, bright light, right? Like even right now, even as you were sharing your story, there's still a bright light radiating from you, right? And I don't know if you even caught this, but you're like, Jane, I feel privileged that like God chose me to go through this, right? So I love even how you're sharing your story, you know, like it's incredible.
A lot of times we get in our head when we go through difficult times, and you know, we are a victim. I was a victim of my ex boyfriend, who, you know, I had to go to court. I mean, it was terrible, right? And victim of my family's gossip, and so many terrible things. And I could just stay stuck in that, you know, and play that role and believe that I'm a victim. Or I could say, no, I overcame these things. And honestly, every time you go to a hardship, you got to look at it as wow, God is teaching me something. You can't really look, it's going to affect you. You're human, we're human, but you always got to see that there's a lesson in there. You always, if you don't manage your emotions in that way, and you don't learn to control your emotions, they're going to control you. And you're going to a lot of people have destroyed their lives because they get stuck in the past. The past should be always there to just teach us the road ahead, not to be stuck there. I'm one of those people that if somebody hurts me, I keep thinking and analyzing and overanalyze it, and it's just, you know, a self-defense mechanism. We all have that. But it is a privilege serving God and having God allowing me to go through certain situations to teach me these wonderful lessons. Because if I wouldn't have went through all of that, I probably would have still been on my ego, thinking about superficial things and trying to fulfill something that will never be fulfilled, instead of really fulfilling my soul with his love, being grateful and appreciating what really matters in life. And so I'm so grateful and privileged, because to me it is the greatest gift. And even when I go through trials and tribulations that I still go through, I still see them as, what are you teaching me, Father? And I'm sad and I'll cry and I'll go through the emotions, but then I'll get up and I'll try to learn the lesson. And I'm just like, thank you, Father, because now again, you've made me stronger.
I love that.
And so it is a privilege. It is, wow. Thank you for trusting in me so much that you know that I am going to be strong enough. That you're giving me these challenges. That you trust me enough to go through each challenge because you believe in me so much. And every time I accomplish each challenge, I feel more proud of myself. Like it's a gift. We've been accustomed and brainwashed to think that a lot of our problems, are setbacks and they're just going to keep us there. No, we need to start seeing this as a challenge, as like, what am I going to overcome next? Like a Mario video game, when you keep jumping through little, that's how you got to look at life, and overcoming and winning each game. And God, when you do, it's such a fulfilling way. And the knowledge you leave with through every situation is incredible. If you start looking at things in a grateful way, not in a like, why, but why me? Like, no, you should be like, whoa, thank you. Wow. Why me? Thank you. Like, I feel privileged. You're giving me this knowledge. But you have to be prepared to accept the knowledge and prepared to look at things in a way to where you want to learn from each situation.
Man, that's like very powerful nuggets. I'm like, oh man, I feel blessed right now. But no, that is like gold right now. Because again, a lot of people listening and tuning in right now, again, I know I'm not alone, but just they're feeling like, okay, I'm done being a victim, right? Everyone's going through some sort of loss right now. Everyone's going through some sort of breakup, whether it's with someone, some job, or some past life they had.
Correct.
But oh my God, I've never heard anyone say that. What you just shared is, this is a privilege. Like, thank you, God.
Right.
That I'm going to overcome. That with you, I will be better at the end of the day. Correct. After I've overcome. So, oh my God.
Yeah. Thank you for trusting me with this challenge. Wow. Yeah. I feel privileged. And even when people are being challenging, the way I look at it is when people are projecting onto me and people are being challenging, I'm like, what are you trying to use me, Lord, to show these people? Because I'm not going to break regardless of what they're going to do to me. Like, you could attempt against my life. I'm not, at the end of the day, my soul is yours and I am in control of that. And so even when you're being challenged, just stand in your ground and just, stay strong in your faith, in who you are, and just feel privileged that you're maybe teaching them something.
I love that.
We are teachers by example, how you carry yourself and with your integrity and how you move in life. If people want to move in life, whichever way they want to move in life, that is their problem, their karma. They're going to have to handle it with God. But you stay strong and with who you are. And if they want to be part of your life or if they're going to be around you, it has to be that way or the other. Don't play about you. And that's the best advice I can give everyone.
Oh, man. No, I'm going to be marinating in that for a long time. I'm like, ooh, that was really good. Now, with your success and with your crazy work schedule, I know, we touched about boundaries, people pleasing. Now, a lot of people experience burnout. I know sometimes I get really burnt out where I just turn into a dark person and all of a sudden I just don't have any motivation or don't care. And I'm like disconnected, right? And I can feel like just right now in the world, people are feeling very burnt out, not just physically, but just all of us, with life, right? Like I'd be lying to tell you like, oh, I've never had a moment where I just want to disappear from the world, right? As much as we don't want to talk about those type of conversations, I think the reality is not everybody has somebody they can trust. Not everybody has someone to talk to, right? So for people who are maybe burnt out right now or maybe just feeling really just in a dark hole, how did you overcome those moments? And what would you kind of inspire them, I guess? Like, what lessons would you teach them to cope with it, but how to get out of it and then maintain being out of being burnt out and tired?
That's something that I constantly go through, being tired. And that's when self-love is very important. I know self-love, and everybody throws the word out there. And I think we don't really go through the meaning of self-love. Self-love has different meanings, and it can be used in different levels. But when it comes to you being exhausted, life is getting to you, you're becoming dark, that's when you have to be alert and be like, whoa, I need to take care of me now. You cannot leave that to anyone else but to yourself. That's when you have to take responsibility for yourself and nobody else. That's when it is your job to step up for you and spoil yourself. What works for me and I go through that constantly is like, I don't care who I make mad, but if I need this afternoon or this time to for myself, I'm going to take it. And during that time, the diet goes out the door. I buy my favorite ice cream. I buy anything that truly makes me happy and reminds me of happy moments in my childhood, or anything that would just put me in a great mood.
Right.
That's how I self-care. I take a hot bath. I try to watch things that make me laugh. And so that's, so find find what makes you happy. Go back and dig into yourself. Like, whoa, I'm feeling like this. This is like, it's high. I should be in high alert right now. I cannot allow myself to get deeper in this, because it's going to affect you in the long run, in your relationships, in your work life, and health wise as well. So the longer you feel that way, the longer you're going to extend your suffering. So why would you want to do that to yourself?
Right.
That's when self-love has to come into play. You got to do whatever it takes to take care of you, your mental. If you need to take a little break, if you need to just take a drive, whatever it is, you must do it. You have to do it. It's very important. For me, it's food. I love food. I like to eat. I do the bath. I listen to music and I sing. And I like alone time because my life is very chaotic, surrounded by people constantly. Music on my ears all the time. So it's always something going on. So I really love peacefulness and quiet. So I really value those moments and cry my little heart out. I go through the emotions. I allow myself to get angry, cuss somebody out just because they made me mad at the moment, and I just like, and I let it all out. Cry it all out, analyze it, and you go through the emotions and just let it all out. And then just remind yourself that the next day must go on, and you have to not get stuck there and get yourself out of that, because it will only affect you and nobody else.
No,
that's it.
I really love that, because when you say self-love, it's almost like accountability, right? Like you have to take ownership and responsibility, because if you ultimately don't take time for yourself and to reinvest and fill your cup, we can't sit here and just wait for somebody else to do that, right? And I admire you, because every time I see you, again, regardless of what you go through, I love that you're always on point, right? And woman to woman, we understand it takes time. It takes effort. It's not like
a lot of tears. A lot of disappointments.
But just like the way you show up, you also empower me to get it together, but also take moment to cry and to cuss at a wall and be like, this person or that. And let it out, because I thought you just grow up one day and you don't feel feelings. I just thought that's what you do. But, I like that you're also telling everyone too, and myself, like, Jane, sometimes you have to cry. Sometimes somebody pissed you off. Like, let it out, because if you keep it in, then that's going to literally make you sick.
Oh, you cannot ignore when somebody makes you mad, and you can't just put it aside. I hate when people say, just let it go. Just ignore it. No, I'm Latin. Like, that's the worst thing you could tell me. Like, I feel like I feel things like 100 times worse. So to me, it's like, do not tell me to calm down, because that's going to make me even more pissed off. Like, please don't. Like, and so understanding yourself more than anybody else, and knowing what you need to do to go through that and process it, and then be able to handle it in the proper way. Or even if you mess up and cuss somebody out, that is okay. We're only human. We can't be perfect all the time. We try to be perfect, but the more you try to achieve that perfection, you're never gonna get there.
Yeah.
It's embrace your imperfections. And I embrace the fact, and everybody knows that, at work or everywhere, that I'm the sweetest, but don't catch me in the wrong moment, or don't be rude to me for no reason, because I will snap and I will tell you don't, because I'm very protective of my energy, and especially if I'm being sensitive or I'm going through situations, that's where I'm the most. So that's when self-love, you gotta be there for you. Literally, you have to always show up for yourself constantly. That should be your priority first. Showing up for yourself each and every day and each and every moment that somebody tests you, and somebody, show up for yourself. Stay strong in your boundaries and just, be who you are. And even if you have a bad attitude sometimes, be proud of that. Like, okay, girl, I stood up for myself. I'm proud of that. Even if it was the wrong thing to do or say, but sometimes I'm Latin, I'm just like so in the moment, I'm like, and then I'll regret it, and obviously I'll own up to it, and I'll apologize, and I'll do the right thing. But sometimes I'm like, I'm proud of myself, because now people know they can't mess with me. Right. So embrace the good and the bad. That's what makes us unique. I'm not ashamed of the bad. I love the bad.
Man. No, and just like, even as you're talking, I realized I probably live most of my life based off, my mom's upbringing or expectation of me. And I know that a lot of women or daughters, they kind of fight this battle. Like, well, my mom told me I should never act a certain way, especially growing up in the church, right?
Right.
But I've noticed when I bottle it in, it doesn't do anything good for myself or people around me, right? Because then you're just like a ticking time bomb. But for you, it's very courageous that you have the boldness to speak up and, fight for yourself and what is right. Because I've learned if you don't speak up, then you don't really give people any boundaries. You almost allow them to step all over you.
Absolutely.
Right. And
you're giving them all your power.
Yeah. And you try to hope that, they didn't mean it. But I've learned that there are some cruel people in this world, or maybe moments they're just in a dark place and nobody checked them before. And we could, if we're talking about God and intention and all that in a funny, silly way, I feel like when we stand up for ourselves with grace, we might teach them a lesson, right? In the most humbling way. Like, hey, not necessarily popping off you directly, but I don't know if you realize this, but that's not okay.
Correct.
I don't know who raised you or who didn't raise you, but you don't treat people like that.
Exactly.
So I think that's something I need to work on. And I know there's a lot of people listening and tuning in right now that haven't been taught that yet. But like you said, the more you practice like a muscle, it will get easier. So I'm going to try my best to try it.
No, you're going to do it.
It will get better, because you can tell I'm like such a sweet person. I feel so much empathy for people that sometimes I take the pain for them.
The problem with that is you think a lot of times people are going to think like you, or they're going to act kind like you. And like you mentioned earlier, sometimes you wish people acted with the same heart that you have, but people are evil. A lot of people don't have your best interest. So now you cannot afford to do that to yourself anymore. You cannot. You, like I said, you are your most expensive asset. You gotta show up for yourself each and every time. Don't play about you. You teach people how you want to be treated. You teach people what you will allow and what you won't allow. And it's okay. If they don't like it, then that's not the people you need in your life, period. And if for some reason, like for me at work, for example, if I get into it with one of my coworkers or whatever, and I set a boundary and they're not okay with it, well, then you're going to have to deal with it, because I'm not going to change my mind. Either you respect it, I give you the respect, and I expect that in return. But if, but you're still going to deal with me, and I'm not going to budge. This is what I expect. And if you're not willing to treat me that way, we don't need to deal with each other. We'll have to see each other at work or wherever, but that's it. You just stay strong in your conviction, You have an amazing sweetheart.
Thank you.
Protect it. Protect it. Don't let anybody play with it. And I understand, I, just like you with your mom, I came from a background where, I was constantly judged. Expectations were set on me. And I went the complete opposite of what my family wanted to do. They're very closed-minded Christians, and I'm in the music, business, modeling, and doing all this stuff that they consider a sin. And I learned that the best way you can honor God and honor yourself is being who you truly are and not being ashamed of that.
Yeah.
And you honor yourself, then, when you do that, then you literally set the boundaries to everybody honoring you, and so embrace who you are, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Love it all, because if you wouldn't have the bad, that wouldn't make you.
Right.
And so that's the best way you can honor yourself and God.
Yeah.
Is by you being true to who you are, letting people know, I don't like this. I don't respect that you talk to me that way, and I will not accept it. Or, this is how I'm going to carry myself. Just that's the best way you can honor God.
Yeah, man. And as you're speaking, it's really cool that we get to share the same faith and belief. So it's another layer of just intimacy and vulnerability. Now, for people that maybe, don't have as strong as a faith as us, how do you kind of help them? Or maybe people who are dealing with maybe gossip or envy or just kind of false storytelling. How do you deal with that? And maybe how do you tell people who don't really have faith in God or faith in God yet? Like, how do you teach them, hey, like, don't listen to those voices or gossip or people just not, respecting your boundaries? How can you teach them or guide them to cope with it? Because even though I'm in the faith and I believe in God, sometimes there's this part of me, it's like, okay, gossip is going to happen anywhere. Like you said, there's good people, there's bad people, right? There's people who speak highly of us. There's people who unfortunately speak down to us. So, even if you know your story, you know who you are, because you and I do. Yeah. How do you still deal with just, gossip or false stories or narratives? Because I'm learning I cannot control how other people perceive me, but I can continue to walk in my truth. But I know a lot of people are severely depressed, maybe even suicidal, because people keep gossiping or people keep sharing negative stories about something that's not true.
Yeah.
How do you handle it in a sweet, respectful way? Because sometimes you want to punch him in the face,
Oh, yeah.
But how do you deal with it?
I'm actually going through that right now. Okay. I have several gossips that people created about me that are completely untrue and just made up stories because, sometimes women feel insecure. They see you doing great things in life. And so people get bored.
Yeah. People
are so in their egos, that it hurts them to see other people do well. And so when that happens to me, and then, basically I just don't give it the energy.
Okay.
The more you feed it energy, the more you give it power. And that's what they want. They want a reaction out of you. These are thirsty people who feed off other people's attention and energy. And so the more you acknowledge it, the more energy you're giving it, and the more you're feeding them. That's what they wanted. They're getting a reaction out of you. But when you keep moving on, like you're unbothered, even if you're so pissed off and you're like, F them and all of this, yes, but don't ever show it. And don't feed into it.
Okay.
Literally start seeing yourself like, really? I'm going to stoop myself this low to let you know that it's not true. If that's what you think, then believe it. I'm not going to feed it. Because the moment you start trying to, decode the lies and say, no, what they said is this. No, this is what happened. The minute you start giving explanations, you're already giving it power. You're already putting yourself in that position that their opinion matters. You got to become to a point where who are you in my life for your opinion to matter in my life anyway?
That's good.
You're just a little puppet in whatever world you're in, and you're just trying to draw my attention, trying to feed up my energy.
Interesting.
So you got to just put people where they belong, in their place, in your mind.
Yeah.
Just remind yourself it's going to bother you and what they say, especially if it affects your career or your personal life. It gets very deep and evil sometimes. People are crazy.
Yeah.
But, just to me, the best way that I avoid it is not feeding into it.
Yeah, that's so powerful.
Just seeing them as below me, genuinely, despite, I'm just really?
Yeah.
I feel bad for you. You're so thirsty for my attention.
Yeah.
And you're so invested in my life that you go out of your way to create gossip and do this and do that. And so I wouldn't even acknowledge it. Like, why would I even?
Oh yeah. No, that's super good right there, because again, sometimes people seek revenge, right? Like, oh, you did this to me, so I'm going to do that. But lately, you know, I'm also in my 30s as well. Just there's so much power and peace. And like you said, just letting go, like acknowledging it, but like, oh, that's so cute. You know, good try, but I'm not affected by you.
And just don't feed it the energy, you know. Just remind yourself, how important is this person in my life for me to allow it to affect me?
Okay, that's really
good. And set a group of people whose words can only affect you. And why? Set that strong in your head. And then everybody else, they're just opinions. And it's up to you whether you want to take them or not. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day. And if they create stupid narratives and false stuff, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. You know, it sucks when people say lies about you and create things that are completely the opposite of who you are. But again, they're just leeches. They leech of your energy. That's what they want. So avoid it all costs. Self-love, you know, stay strong and keep it going. Unfortunately, that's life. It's not going to stop. That's something that I had to accept that I'm still struggling with. You know, it's still a constant for me. You know, I'm constantly being attacked. And so, but I just had to pretty much just submit to it. Like, okay, it comes with the territory. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to be hard on myself about it. I'm definitely not going to give them that much power over me. So what I'm not going to do is just feed it. I'm going to stay right here. You know?
And it's crazy because whenever I have like bad days or I'm kind of going through a funk, whenever I see you or, you know, just like your text, just I feel so uplifted because I get to know somebody that's doing big things in the world and still goes through these things, but you don't let it negatively affect you. Right. So I love that. And I just wanted you to know that I acknowledge that about you. And even though I don't say as much as I could, I feel it. Like you make me feel like I feel it in my soul. And that is so loud. Like they always say, sometimes, you know, your actions speak louder than your words. Correct. So I hope, you know, even from like a sister, neighbor, you are impacting me, and I know you are impacting so many people just by the way you show up. And
you're impacting me as well.
Listen, I know this.
I admire what you do and how you came in, and you're breaking so many barriers. And I love your drive and just you're so goal more. Like I just love like your hustle. I respect it, and I just want to see nothing but win for you, like wins. And I want to see you in big places, you know. And I'm here for love and support. You know, I always tell you this. God gives enough for everybody, you know? Amen. And so for me, if I can be that sister that can help you get to where you need to be, I'm going to be that, you know what I mean? And so I love that you are the same way with me and with so many people, you know, and they should be lucky to have people like us in their life.
No, seriously. And I was telling my husband today, I was like, babe, like I just manifested it with conviction too. I was like, you are going to be one of the biggest people I've ever interviewed. So what I mean by that is not just right now, this moment, but even 2 years, 10 years down the road, I already know you're going to be in bigger places, right? In terms of purpose. So just, I feel so humbled that you would take time out of your busy day to be here. And you already know from day one, I got your back. I'm here to support you and fight for you. And so even for you to just say that, like your support, it really makes me emotional because sometimes us go-getters, boss ladies, you know, I know you complimented me on my hustle, but it can be very lonely, right? Oh, it is. It's like, we know what we're capable of, but it can get so lonely. So Jessie, if you don't mind me asking, like in your journey with your ambition, your fire and God behind you and, you know, all the things you went through personally too, like, when you feel alone sometimes, like how do you cope with it? Because I know I'm very social, very friendly, but there are dark days, you know, I'm not going to lie. I just feel so alone. Like, is anyone else out here trying to make it? Like, is anyone else going after a bigger life? Or am I the crazy one that believes in, you know, making a change in this world? And you see everybody else just kind of settling. How do you deal with that? Because it's like, you're such a beautiful woman, and not to judge anyone else's walk, but like, we could easily take the easy road if we wanted to.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the spiritual fight for us,
yes,
godly, spiritual, beautiful, smart women, we could have anything.
Absolutely.
We could just date a rich man and get the money if that's
yeah.
all we wanted. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
And so I want to know, like again, I even admire that aspect of you, is you're such a powerhouse and you're just a full woman. How do you continue to go on this path when it can be lonely sometimes? Like, how do you stay motivated?
To be honest with you, and this is probably not what you were trying to hear,
It's okay.
But that loneliness never goes away. In fact, there comes a time where you get so accustomed to it, where it's just part of your road. Okay. It's just part of where you're going, because when you're going to do great things in life, not a lot of people can walk with you in the same path. And so you have to kind of just accept it and feel it.
Okay.
You know, there's plenty times that I feel very alone. I constantly cry my heart out, and I feel alone in this world, not in the spiritual world. Right. But you do, as a human, you want your family or your friends to care about the things that you care. But, you know, when you want that constantly, you're constantly going to be disappointed. Constantly going to be heartbroken. And so it's something that either you accept it and get used to it, or it's going to like break you eventually, because it's a lonely road, especially when you're doing great things in life. And that's why you have to learn to walk your own path and learn to manage your emotions, learn to know where you want to go, and not give that power to anybody else over your life and your goals. Because you're going to do this alone, and you're going to continue to do it alone. It never goes away. You can ask the most famous people in the world and they will tell you. Like, look at Michael Jackson, how he used to cry. And a lot of the celebrities don't know how to deal with it, because it is such a lonely world. You know, you go from, like for me at the Taco Fest, I was just in front of 30,000 people. You know, and it was incredible. They sang me happy birthday with the mariachi, and I felt so loved and praised, and I was like, woo. And then boom, the next day I'm in the hospital with my mother by myself. So it's a humbling experience. It's a constant reminder that you're doing this on your own. And you just have to learn to accept it. And embrace it and go through the emotions and just not see it as okay. It's sad. You're constantly going to be sad, but just know that those sad moments are like the investment for the happy moments.
I love that.
You know?
Yeah. And I really appreciate your honesty, because again, part of the podcast and why I took so long to finally launch it is I was also fighting myself, right? Like, am I pretending to be okay, or am I actually okay? You know, like, am I happy, or am I just faking the funk, right? But I promised myself, like, Jane, you deserve a breakthrough, right?
Absolutely.
You deserve to change your life, right? Even if it's sad, even if it's lonely, you deserve to be real. So when I decided to finally sit and press record, we're not going to do a script. We're not going to, you know, talk too much before we record, because I wanted it to be so real, even when it's sad and lonely, because I know that's what people need to really hear.
And I love that you're doing this, because not only you're doing this for others, but you're doing it for yourself. So not only you're giving this gift to others, but you're giving yourself one of the biggest gifts of your life, because through this, you're healing others and you're healing yourself. So that you should feel really proud of yourself.
Yes, thank you.
And that should remind you, wow, this is my subconsciousness showing how much I love myself. And so, you know, and I'm sorry that I had to remind you that it's going to continue to be sad, and it's going to continue to be challenging. But the only reason I tell you that is so you can learn to accept it and know that, okay, I'm going to just expect those sad moments. Expect that. Once you expect it, it won't be as hard. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And so, and when you expect that, you're more prepared for it. So just prepare for that.
Okay.
Because nobody knows your heart more than you know yourself, and God, obviously. And so just expect what's coming. Expect that if certain situations are going to happen, that's how you're going to handle it. But now give yourself a prep of, okay, I'm going to try to handle it this way. And if you're able to handle it that way, good. And if you don't, then good. But just mentally know that it's going to continue to happen. Just learn to live with it. Marry it.
I like that.
marry. It's like a relationship, it's become a wife to it, to the bad times.
Yes.
Because if you want the good times, you have to go through the bad times. It's just something that is in this world that we cannot escape.
Yeah.
It's just part of life.
And I like the word when you said expectations too, is I think that's why a lot of people who have very kind hearts, especially in Vegas, it's so challenging sometimes because we didn't have proper expectations, right? When I first moved here right before the pandemic, obviously I moved for a better life. I didn't have friends or family, but I had a vision, I had a dream. And like you said, I don't know. It was like, I knew I was supposed to be a light here. Even if I was the weirdo or the outcast, like I knew I moved here for a positive value.
Yes.
It wasn't like anything superficial. Like it wasn't about the partying or getting the comp dinners and drinks, which is always nice. Don't get me wrong. But I knew I was on a mission when I moved here.
Yeah.
And I remember having dreams like, I'm supposed to meet women. I'm supposed to help them heal. And it's so funny that you were sharing about just why I even started this podcast. Like, you're absolutely right. I didn't even think of it that way, Jessie. But when I'm helping others heal, I'm healing in the process.
Yes, that's
like
beautiful.
I'm healing with you. And
what
I'm
a beautiful gift.
Maybe this is
thank
one
you.
of the reasons
Thank
I was
you.
moving here.
And I'm grateful that God put that in your heart, and I'm grateful that you believed in yourself.
Yes.
And you didn't let nothing get on your way,
Yes.
and so keep believing in yourself and in trusting your gifts and your power. You have a voice.
Yes. Thank you.
You've led your life in a great way.
Yeah.
So be proud of yourself. And you're I'm super proud. I'm motivated by you as well. I'm inspired to see how you took all of these challenges. You came to a brand new city and you're conquering it.
Yeah. Thank you.
How incredible is that? More than anybody, you should feel so proud of yourself that you've accomplished so much in so little, that you're able to build these relationships with so many of us.
Yes.
That speaks a lot about you and who you are as a person, and that all of us, want to be here and show up for you.
Yes.
So you should just give yourself a big hug and be like, wow, like I am making an impact in people. People do trust in me. And so that should just be the fuel for you to
No, and like
keep going.
To add some closing comments too, just I remember my mom always saying some random wisdom, but I was so young to comprehend what she said. But she would always tell me, pay attention to the people you're around or that you allow around, because it's like a mirror.
Absolutely.
You become what you're around and you start to see them as you. And so just being in this moment, right? I can't say I always had a positive light with positive people, but it humbles me at the core, Jessie, to just have you in my life, because I say this with such humility. Also, like, I feel so honored to even call you my friend, because I'm seeing a part of me, right? And same with you. Just it's really inspiring. So I want to continue to support you. I already know you support me. I can't even question that. So please continue to let me know. And I'm
super proud of you. You keep shining, girl. I know you're going to go to big places.
Yes, thank you.
And you
so
have
much.
all of our support.
Yeah.
We trust and believe in you, and you're amazing. We all love you.
Thank you
so
thank
you for giving us this gift to heal with you.
Yeah. No,
thank you so much.
Of course. Now, you kind of got ahead, because when I close with every guest, I tell every guest, what are 3 life lessons you would have shared with your younger self? I know you gave us so much gold and so much wisdom today, but if you could kind of, summarize top 3 life lessons you would have told your younger self, what would that be?
I would say you're going to be one strong woman. I'm going to say, I love you so much. I would tell that little girl, I love you so much. And I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud of you and who you're going to become.
That's powerful. Yeah. I'm proud of you. I'm like, oh, that's so good.
Thank you. But, you made me cry.
Yeah. So, when we post our, episode, I'll make sure we link all of your information down below, because again, I know people listening and watching, they're probably wowed right now, because I'm a little speechless right now, but I know they probably want to support you on all accounts. So we'll make sure to link all of that below. And you guys, seriously, make sure you support her. She's been so incredible.
Thank you.
Again, has been such an intimate influence in my life. So again, thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad you took time to be here. It's all about real talk, real conversations with real people.
Absolutely.
And just be ready for more juicy conversations that are life-giving, encouraging, but again, just really
and hopefully
real.
You can bring me back. Bring
I'm
me
ready.
back. Bring me back for the juicy conversations.
Yes. So we got more fun stuff. So, part of the way I wanted to create the podcast is the first episode with each guest. It's, a little deep, a little raw, but it's my way of, respectfully introducing you to my, viewers out here. But the more you show up, it's going to be super fun and all this random stuff that I know people want to hear.
Yes.
So again, thank you for also opening up your heart. I know
Absolutely.
we touched on some really intimate, personal, private things, but again, I honor you. I respect you. And I know that a lot of people needed to hear this, you know, and later when you see my first episode, I nearly had a meltdown. I didn't expect it. And I just broke down. So for me, that really set the tone of how I want to do this podcast is, if you feel it, whatever it is, laughter, tears, whatever, just be what you are.
Exactly.
Like you said, be
authentic. The world
authentic.
needs more of that rawness, that truthfulness.
Yes.
We all need it.
Yes.
Literally, we all need it.
Yep.
So thank you, Jane.
I got you.
Can't wait. I'm excited.
Yes. Thank you so much again. And until next time, continue to protect your peace, stay positive, and we'll catch you on the next episode.